morning. Welcome back to Dollar House Farms. Ethan Cross Farm from East Cork and South Ireland. I'm making the balls and knocking off this bed of straw. Lovely. This beet has been chopping now for about 10 minutes, so it's nicely chopped there now. We'll throw it out. This is it then in the mix, so you wouldn't even hardly see it, you know. It's all well scattered out among it within the mix. So there's a bit, there's a bit, there's a bit. Look, yeah, so it's really well mixed up. Consistent mix every day is the key to big happy fat cattle. Alright lad. Just out here giving these boys a shift now. These are the biggest group of calves, but they are fair calves now. I'd say they're definitely the best we've ever had them, but they've definitely never eaten more, so you'd expect them to be the best. Oh, that feels a bit lame. And they're no way fat at all, but they're as growthy. Go on. There's another foot of grass here. They got 10 days out of that paddock, 3 acre paddock. Jesus. Yeah. Bring home the feeder now and fill it up and put it in here from. Just had to get into this feeder here to level it off. I have a bit of an audience. I'm going to take them out of here now, probably tomorrow. This will all be gone, and I'm going to put them onto grass. They'll go onto grass then probably for 6-7 weeks, and back onto rye then, and cover crops for the rest of the winter. They'll be back out to grass 1st of February again, hopefully. So I'm just out here walking a couple of fields, seeing what grass is where, because we need to start closing up paddocks now for next spring. We're even a bit late starting, but so my plan on this farm is, this is the heifers are just over there. I'm going to graze off the lighter covers first, because I'll be able to graze them quicker. And I'll be able to get that ground stopped up, and it'll be growing back again for next spring. So the heavier covers I'm going to leave till probably last, because the recovery on them will be very slow anyway. So we'll be back now. They will be harder to graze as the weather gets wetter, but look, we'll manage that when the time comes. We'll strip graze them or whatever needs be. So I'm just trying to identify the paddocks here that are sort of light or heavy, so I can start. I think probably the last ones grazed are out at the other side of the farm. I'll probably start with them and work my way back in along down to the bottom then, I'd imagine. So that's the plan. We'll keep walking and see. This whole block is multi-species year 4, year 3. This is the end of year 3. So it was planted, it's in full 3 years. Yeah, it was planted last autumn 3 years ago, or this autumn 3 years ago. And you still see there's loads of chicory and plantain, to tell you the truth. I don't know if there's much in it now, as was nearly ever in it. But there's a fairly hilly old spot up here. East Cork is looking lovely and autumny. Tide is, I don't know, we'll zoom in. Down there. That's my finger. A big stupid finger. There. That's Ballycotton Island down there now. I was doing the calculations there, to be honest. There's actually so much grass here. In this field alone there's 25 acres. There's give or take 70 days grazing. Say 70 days and you'll have 60% utilisation. Give it 70%. So to bring it back. So that's 50 days. 50 days from today. We'll bring them to the 1st of December, and I probably want to get them back onto rye for the 10th of December. So 10 days. I want to get them back onto rye for the 10th of December. So 10 days. So I'm sure 10 days. Probably them 2 paddocks out there maybe. And then, so 5 and 5, probably wouldn't get 5, yeah. So that's what I might do. Trying to decide what paddocks to graze and what to leave. I'm not going to get them all grazed, and to be honest, I'm too late starting. So I must walk the rest of them. There's a field here now, to tell you the truth, should be cut. And get it grazed and get it cleaned off. So I might I can actually do, you know. Might come up and mow this in a minute. I think that's what I'll do. Because you want to have a hope of grazing this is too heavy, there's cover of 3,000 on it. Like. Actually, as I walk down along here, it's not too bad, it's only about 2,000. It's just the top half of it there. It was badly grazed for some reason. But yeah. I know that was badly grazed. No, actually, during the drought, I left this paddock. If you go back to about, let's say, early July, I left this paddock to be grazed as sort of say standing hay, we'll say, because it should have been cut for bales, but I knew I'd run out of grass because we're in the height of a drought. So this was basically our last paddock of grass. And just as they were coming in here, it started to rain. So we got like about 10 days out of it, because like there was, I don't know, covered 3,500 in it maybe. We got about 10 days out of it. And we strip grazed the bottom half, but then it started to get too wet, so we left them off into the top half, and only half grazed it, and I topped it. And that's why topping is such an ineffective way of grassland management, really. Because when you top it, you have a lot of P and K out of the grass soaking back down into the soil and just gets bitter. So yeah, topping is a disaster, really. You should try and avoid it at all costs. We do very little of it, only where we absolutely see it necessary. We had to top this time because it was too strong and we needed it back in quick. What was left there, they wouldn't have grazed it no matter what, and we needed it back in quick. So we topped it, just cleaned it up. But now, look, that's the ramifications of it now. Big, massive, heavy cover up there. That'll be really hard to graze. But anyway, however, back in the yard now, getting these boys bedded down. This is the bed of being soft, so a little bit more dusty than the bar this problem time. Does the job. We thought he use the bed every, maybe twice or 3 times a week. Now I'm going to get a group of bulls out there. Pen 1 there. They're our own bulls, and I thought to use them. They were part of the first cohort that went in. So instead of weighing all the bulls or any of the big groups, basically, I just take them out. They're right alongside the crush yard, and I weigh them. So just to make sure that they're all performing as I like without taking out a whole load of them. So, boys, come on, whoop, whoop. Ah, yeah, pull down the whole place, why don't you? Come on, get out. Get out. Go on, hey, go on. Final field of planting 2025 is a go. And dust rising. I never before thought, have I? there's winter roads going in here. We were humming and hanging, would we leave it alone till next week or not, because it is fairly early down this side of the country now. But anyway, look, we made a decision, we're going to get on and get it done there now. And we'll be finished, so we'll be sow this now and get lashes spraying done tomorrow, and that's field work finished then for 2025. Done and dusted. All cattle and horses from then on. So, but yeah, I'm out here with the, you haven't seen it, it's a 7 metre Missouri Result, I think is the name of it. And it's like a straw harrow with a raw disc in front of it. And so this ground would have been got a run of the heaver and pressed after the harvest, and that spread off there last week. And yeah, so that will just come in, one run of this now, in with the grill and roll it and out again. So it's still like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, still like 5 runs, so until it's a bit of a stretch, but it spreads out load. Like we only decided to start this field an hour ago when we finished it tonight. It's 20 past 4. If you were to go plough this now, you know, there's a day's work in ploughing this field, whatever way you go about it really, there always is. So it's sort of, it's 20 acres of short ground. It's a bit of a pain in the arse. But geez, there's a lot of winter corn starting in East Cork now. Ourselves in the building, you'd swear it was making 300 euros a ton. And I suppose someday we'll get sense. Look, I need it for the cattle side of my business anyway, so. But I'm sure everyone has their own reason for growing winter crops, or for growing till it's full stop. You find a good reason now. But anyway, yeah. So this is in serious condition. But yeah, I get out now and I'll give you a look at what I'm doing. That is just heading off, going sow in that field. We won't get it all done tonight now, but we'll finish it tomorrow. Get the spraying done. And that'll be it then. Let's go check some calves. Between checking ground and checking grass and checking calves, as I give all day driving on the roads. Anyway, needs must. Disadvantage feeder's empty, but it's actually grand because just get them to lick out this paddock now tonight. And they'll be shifted tomorrow, so these 2 fields here are closed now. So of this farm, that represents about 15%. I will get another 2 paddocks grazed now with these. So by say the end of October there should be 20-25% of it closed, which is fine. I think they came out of this paddock. Oh, I moved them maybe last Saturday. Now this wasn't great properly, don't mind this bit. But like, look at the regrowth on it. Jesus. Nearly too heavy to tell you the truth. I prefer to get that grazed a bit better. Anyway, look, it is what it is. We'll only have to go with it now. So, just take a spin over here and have a look at it. No. So this is the wettest paddock on this farm, and there's a lot of feckin' grass here, so we have to get this grazed out now. We have to get this grazed before the weather breaks. So I'll probably put the big group down here now tomorrow, and I might even leave them without the advantage field. Yeah, this is what we call wet. Another cut of silage here. We've never had this much grass this time of the year. There's a cover of 3,000 there. Serious stuff, serious quality. Loads of clover in it as well. So we'll have to get all these grazed off now. Look at that second badger, I'd say. Bastards. We'll have to get all this grazed off now, hopefully, before we close up Christmas time. But anyway, it's not a bad complaint. Once the weather stays good, you'll get these grazed out all day. Once the weather breaks, it's disaster. But anyway, I'd rather be looking at it than looking for it now, to tell you the truth. Because most years we're looking for it. Just bought this feeder back from the bridge farm. This is the one for the calf. I would full up there now, so that should do about another, I don't know, 2 weeks maybe, 10 days, and I will have to fill it again then. So now I'm going to leave it there now for today's video. I'm finished for the evening. Well boys, I forgot to tell you what they weighed, and I didn't record it because I need my phone. They weighed 605 kilos and they're doing 1.28 a day. So that's good. They took off at an awful burst. They were doing like 2 kilos a day to start, and they're starting to slow down now. But that's what happens when you're finishing cattle. That's why it's sort of, you don't want them over fat, because they get putting on fat is the most inefficient thing you can do. We'll give them about another month. They'll be up over 5 or 6, 40 kilos, I suppose. So our aim was to get them to kill 330, and they'll do that. If they get to that, they'll do that. So I'd be over the moon if we could achieve 330, and we'll actually, my aim for was to average 330, but we'll actually average way more, because the later bulls that came in are way heavier. They should average 360, 370 maybe. So that would be super if they did. Anyway, that's it now from Dower House Farms. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you again tomorrow for more Dower House Farms. Good luck.